We're back.
Are we back?
We're back.
Oh, we're back. Awesome.
What's going on?
We're so back.
So backed up.
Marty McFly couldn't find us. We're so far back.
All right. What you got next?
We got Monday Night Raw from last night. And man, it was a good show, I think. And I want to ask you guys about the main points. The first thing that I can think of is there was a tease by Chad Gable that some people are saying that he teased Malachi Black. Did you guys get a wind of that?
I saw the tease, but why would it be Malachi Black?
So it turns out the segment with Chad Gable and Dominic Mysterio, Chad Gable said something about like, I'm about to master the dark arts of Lucha Libre. Aleister Black and Selena Vega own the dark arts gym pro wrestling school. And Michael Cole said, could it be? So a lot of people thinking that this is WWE's way to bring in either Aleister Black or Malachi Black.
Well, a couple of
so
problems.
My first question is Malachi still currently under contract?
Yes.
Okay, so that's problem number one.
And then let's say that they released him. Let's say that they gave him this release. It would still have the non-compete. So that would be a long ass fucking cliffhanger. Be like, we're gonna bring in the dark arts, and then in 3 months we finally get reminded that happened. Like that would be.
No, the only way we wouldn't have to deal with the non-compete clause is if his contract ran out and they just didn't renew it.
Correct.
Which I'm not exactly sure when his contract is up. I think we had this conversation like a year or so ago.
No, it's up this year. The AEW could be huge pricks because there are two options that they could pick up, but his base deal is over in 2025.
Yeah, but I was talking about as far as we were talking about, like what the month was. I want to say it was February, and you said it was later down the line, like May or June or some shit like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I couldn't find it.
I was going basically off when he first showed up on AEW television.
Okay.
Oh. So, who knows? But for it to be Malachi right now, I don't think so. I more than likely they're just gonna pull some Lucha Libre legend out for like a one night appearance or some shit like that.
Yeah, I had no idea what that was about. It's like, what the fuck are they talking about?
Only the dark arts of Lucha Libre, the only person that I can think of that would match that character was the Pentagon Dark character, and he's not bringing in Pentagon Dark to go after Penta. So, like, who else that's prominent had that kind of dark gimmick?
The only one that ever came to mind with me was Mil Muertes.
Yeah, but I don't think that's it.
And as of today, he's still filling up his 2025 calendar.
Yep.
So I don't see that happening anytime soon.
No.
Yeah, that was fucking weird, dude. I was like, all right. So when I saw this thing about Malachi, I was like, I mean, it kind of does make sense, but that's a stretch. That's a stretch.
Yeah.
See if I can
no, I mean, it does make sense, and it would be a great, like Easter egg. I just don't know how it would be possible.
Yeah, especially if he's still under contract. Like, there's got to be a lot of legal issues there. Like, you can't be teasing stuff like that if he still works for another company, technically.
Now, it could just be Zelina Vega.
But she's too over as a babyface right now. Why would you even want to try to turn her heel?
Yeah. So yeah, I have no idea. I don't know.
All right. Well, that was a fun little post that I saw about that. But the next thing I want to ask you guys when it comes to Monday Night Raw was the match between Penta and Pete Dunne. What did you guys think about that? Because a lot of people on the interwebs were hating on it, saying that it was a pointless match. How did you guys feel about it?
I think when you're debuting a new person, the matches don't have to have anything other than showcasing talent. And I think
Correct.
that match last night was a really good match. I mean, if you look at it from a pure wrestling match, it was a really good match. It doesn't have to be a part of a storyline. We haven't gotten there yet. You know, but Penta hasn't been enthralled in the storyline yet. And I think it's good to just have some matches that showcase how great the talent is when you first bring somebody in. You don't have to throw them into a storyline. That's why I was so glad when he didn't align himself with Mysterio in that whole bullshit. Like, I was so glad that didn't happen because you pigeonholed a guy right off the bat with that shit. Like, he's here and he's amazing. Let's show that for a couple of matches first.
Yeah, and this is probably going to continue on for, I'd say, the next 4 weeks leading into the Rumble, maybe something after the Rumble. Give them a little storyline to try to get them involved into the next pay-per-view or possibly even into WrestleMania Night 1 or some shit like that, just an undercard match. But you're right. This is how you're supposed to show off a new worker. You know, give him those matches with legitimate people. And let's be real. A lot of people shit on Chad Gable, but he is one of the best workers they have today.
Yeah, he's an amazing worker.
Pete Dunne, same thing. And I don't remember about a lot from last night. Actually, I don't remember hardly anything from last night, but I remember messaging you as soon as they announced it was Penta versus Pete Dunne. I remember that.
Yep.
I don't even really remember our conversation last night, but I remember me being excited for that. And this match didn't disappoint. It showed off everything they needed to for Penta. It showed off that even though Penta was obviously going to go over, that Pete Dunne is still a viable threat. And Pete's one of those guys that can work anybody.
And it was kind of a cool undertone with both of them being really good at the joint manipulation stuff.
Yes.
It was kind of an undertone that might have missed a lot of people, but it was like they're both. That's kind of bread and butter with them. Is the joint manipulation? So it was I thought it was a really well done match. I mean, people can bitch about it if they want. They just don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah, they were.
And that's the problem. The ones that bitch about this are the ones that think they know everything, but they know absolutely dick.
Yeah, they were kind of getting like impatient. Some of the people that were complaining about it because they were expecting to see Penta team up with Ray to face the New Day, and instead he's just having these matches that they don't really understand like what it's leading to.
It's not leading to anything. It's this is our newest member. We're letting you see what he can do under our umbrella. That's all these are. There's no storyline behind it. There's no, what's going to happen next week. He's going to work another mid card guy next week. Whoever the fuck it may be. There's no point putting him in a story right now. He's new. He's still got the new car smell. He's working as well or as even better than what he was doing years prior in other companies. Just let him enjoy it.
Yeah.
There's no reason to put him with fucking Ray or the New Day. There's no reason to fucking, God forbid, put him with a fucking Wyatt Six or Judgment Day or fucking whatever Karrion Kross's fucking flunkies are called at this point.
I hope that they build them for the Intercontinental Championship title picture somehow.
I think that would be a good spot to put them later in the year. especially when Braun's had his run with it. Him and Braun could put on a damn good match. Damn good match.
But I also think that Penta is one of those talents that he doesn't need a belt.
True.
You know, he it would almost be kind of weird for him to have a belt. I don't know. I just think that his mystique and everything, it's
you feel he has Undertaker syndrome.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the best way to put it, because Taker was always better chasing than he was keeping.
Mm-hmm.
But it was nice when he did get the belt.
Yeah, and I'm not even saying chasing. Like, he doesn't have to be. He could be in main event storylines and not be in the title picture. Like, he doesn't have to chase a title.
He can be another Jey Uso who just never wins the title. But he's there, but he never wins it.
But for my money, you know, it seems like a disservice for him not to be in some sort of title picture at some point. I'm not saying right now or even within the next 6 months, you know, finish building him up, you know, get a good story or two in, you know, figure out where you want to keep him baby or if you want to turn him heel. He can work both phenomenally, you know. But at some point, he's going to get that popularity where he's going to have to be put in a title contention somewhere.
Yeah.
Well, that's that's good to hear. I hope, you know, they do something cool with Penta. I'm sure they are, but the next thing I want to ask you guys about when it comes to Monday Night Raw is the Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn thing. I know these guys, man, they've been going at it like millions of times over the years, and it's like I didn't think I would get excited to see them face to face last night, but I was hyped for this, man. I was like, when is Kevin Owens going to confront Sami Zayn about teaming with Roman? And last night was the start of it. How'd you guys feel about Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn's segment last night?
So Kevin and Sami, to me, is what Hunter and Sean was in the mid 2000s. You can keep them far away from each other, but when you got to get something going, you can always bring them back in. It's always going to draw money, whether they're teaming or they're feuding. I mean, think about it. When Sean went down with his back, Triple H became the game. When they needed something to kind of spice shit up, they brought Sean back in to do the DX reunion, cut that shit short real quick. They feuded for a couple years, and every time they locked horns with each other, it was fucking amazing. But when they finally got back on the same page and became a tag team again, it was just as amazing. Same thing with Sami and Kevin. They have that it right there of whether they're on the same team or they're opposing, it's always going to draw because we know that backstory. We know how close they are behind the scenes and in front of the camera. And they can make you feel like they legit hate each other or they can legit love each other. I'm perfectly okay with this. I was talking to Dark about it this morning, as a matter of fact, when I was rewatching it, that, you know, the possibility of Sami and Kevin at Mania, I'm fucking great with that, considering what was it? Not last year, but the year before, they main evented night one and won the tag belts from the Usos. So play the what if game. What if Kevin does win at the Royal Rumble? He does become WWE champion. Not going to break my fucking heart any. Honestly, I'm tired of seeing Cody with the fucking belt anyway. The same with Gunther, but that's a different subject. And what if Sami does win a number one contendership for the world title? You know, probably Elimination Chamber or some shit like that. And they do main event night one of WrestleMania for the World Heavyweight Championship. It's not going to break my heart. I'll love the build up to it. I'll love what's going to come of it. And, you know, regardless of who they decide to go over, if that's the case, we're all the fucking winners because we've seen the story of two or shoot best friends who started with nothing, worked their way through every promotion together, and now they've kind of pretty much achieved this dream of main eventing WrestleMania for the title against each other. it's the shit fucking stories are made of, man.
Mhm.
I'm good with that. Now my only issue is how do we get there? How does Kevin win the WWE title?
Mhm.
My first thought was Randy does a run in, inadvertently cost Cody the title match. And that kind of plants the seeds for Cody to do the heel turn that everybody's been wanting anyway.
Well,
And
Kevin
we'll talk.
Owens brought the question up to Sami last night. I got your back. I know you have my back, right? So maybe, how does he get there? Sami helps Kevin, and Kevin helps Sami at the Rumble. It's both main event WrestleMania.
We'll see. We'll see. But I'm not against it. I would anytime Sami and Kevin's worked, I've loved their matches. Their chemistry is top fucking notch. It's like watching me and Dark work, or it's like watching me and Rip work, or it's like watching Dark and Rip work. Like that camaraderie that you have from being brothers. It's hard to explain that chemistry. But once you have that chemistry, you have it for fucking ever. So to watch them go do that, also knowing the story of their past and what this means to them, I'm good for it. That'd be good for me as Matt versus Jeff WrestleMania for a world title. I'm good with it. But again, there's just a lot of what ifs. What if Kevin does win it? What if Kevin doesn't win it? What if that causes the friction there and they do eventually work one-on-one at Mania again? Obviously it's not going to be main event. It's not going to be for the world title, but they do get to work again. Which it seems either way, they're pushing towards Kevin and Sami at Mania.
Looks that way, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I expect them to have the match. I don't think it's going to be for a title. I don't think Owens will win the match. I think my prediction earlier, and it might be far fetched, but that he somehow loses to Cody in a match that would obviously take place before the Rumble, and then he would go out of anger, cost Sami be down to the final 4 or 5, and Kevin cost Sami the Rumble. That's more where I would see it happening rather than. I don't think Sami's going to win the Rumble. I don't think Kevin's going to be the champion. So I think that's kind of the only way it gets to that point.
I mean, I'm not against that either. And, we talked about it this morning. I thought that was more of a down to earth, realistic view of it. Mine was more of what do I really want to see and how do we really get it there? And I was just pulling shit out of my ass with the whole Randy coming out and shit like that. But you got to admit, if the Randy thing gets involved, when we do end up getting Randy versus Cody at Mania, we don't get fucking John Cena or Randy Orton, which would be a travesty of justice. I'd still be kind of okay with it.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I think Cena's gonna win the Rumble. So I don't know.
My money's still either on Punk or on Seth, and whoever doesn't win the Rumble wins the world title leading into Mania.